Thank you so much for joining this video. I just want to let you know that you can find the slides for this presentation that you're about to see in the comment section. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and a comment, and also join my channel because I'm sharing many more things that are related to the topic. So with that, have fun! Welcome! So I'm very excited for this session because I will take you through a whole journey from, let's say, the very top part, which is Joule, down to the Generative AI Hub, and also even show you more things around it, what might be useful then for your organization. So let's get started directly. The most asked question that I got at Sapphire was what's already available and what's coming. And I know Chantal had these slides earlier in there, but I did leave them in. Why? Because I want to just highlight again. These are all things that are on the BTP available already today and that you can try out or even make use of it. We just had a lovely session about the BTP EA or the CPA. These are things that you can also consume and use and make use of it. I just talked a lot about the SAP Code one, but these are other things that you can also use. Not all of them are on the CPA or BTPA, but the majority you can leverage it with it if you already have one. Well, the font now gets even smaller if we look at what is coming soon. So again, maybe looking at Q2, we have things around the integration suite. Then in Q3, we have more around SAP Build Code, document information extraction, more things also in the automation space, and so on, right? And the list also continues here in Q4 of what will be coming. But this would not be a generative AI session if I would not show you this slide. You've seen it in various different forms, but this is SAP's Business AI strategy. So if in case you haven't seen it, it is in various different layers. In the top layer we have Joule, which is the co-pilot. You have heard it already several times today. Then we have embedded capabilities, which again, as this is a BTP AI focused session, I will highlight and talk mainly about the BTP part of it. And Chantal in the morning was mentioning that the BTP has two roles. And you actually can see this really good on that slide. So, first of all, we embed AI capabilities in the Business Technology Platform. But if you spot where it again says SAP Business Technology Platform, you see it here where we have the AI Foundation, which is this all-in-one AI toolkit. This is a bit how I need to think about it. So that means we embed AI in the BTP, and I will show you a couple of examples, but you can also do customized AI with the AI Foundation. And what the AI Foundation is, I will also show you, and I will also show you more precisely how you can directly do generative AI. This is all that underpinned by all the different AI partnerships and investments that we have also done in this space. It's a lot of different companies and they're growing. Every time I'm doing another presentation, I'm actually probably more often need to add another logo to this because the space is moving so fast. I just talked about this 3 weeks ago, about this whole BTP and AI part, and since then Sapphire happened, so many new announcements are there, and I will take you through some of these announcements that we had. So, since generative AI became in the market, we have now 50 plus new AI use cases. And Christian Klein stood on stage at Sapphire and said, we will actually generate, until the end of the year, 100 plus new use cases by the end of the year. And one of the main parts, of course, is Joule for it. So let's start at the top. Joule has three kind of patterns. The first one is a navigation pattern. So you ask a question, for example, okay, I need vacation. So here's what I found in terms of requesting, for example, vacation. So it guides you through the right part in the organization. Then it also has transactional patterns. So for example, here again, I need to create a leave request. You can do this directly within the console, for example, as well. So doing transactional parts directly within Joule. And the third pattern is the informational pattern, which means that you can have, for example, particular policies that are maybe directly connected to your organization that then are as knowledge reflected back to the employee. For example, here, how long can I use my company car? And then this is what they found about their car policy for the company, and it also directly links the document. So these are the three patterns that Joule has. We're working on another one, which is the analytical pattern. So to have directly analytics displayed in the Joule window. We're also working, by the way, also on the mobile version of Joule. And a very bold statement that we put out there, and it's out there now, that by the end of this year, we are supporting 80% of the most used tasks in Joule. And that is where, again, this is now the whole overview, but these are the things when Joule will be available in the different solutions. Okay? And here I want to highlight SAP Build Code. I talked earlier about this. We have SAP BTP Cockpit. I will show you in a second what that means. Then we have SAP Build, which is our low-code, no-code part, which will come into Q2. We have here the SAP Integration Suite. I will also show you what will be coming there, and several more things. Earlier today, somebody asked me about SAP S/4HANA Cloud Private Edition, Q2, but I just want to again highlight, subject to change. So, with a lot of other new announcements, we have also the document grounding. So I just showed you before the HR policy document. This is one of the things of how you are able to add now your particular information either in an SAP system or in third parties, where you can put in a, let's say, some kind of a folder your policies, and then Joule will be understanding and you can ground your data with it. It's already available for SAP SuccessFactors, but Joule is already available. So if you have SAP SuccessFactors, check if you can activate Joule. And already, because you actually, depending on your license that you're having, if you have more questions about it, please come to me afterwards. But depending on how many users you have, you already get free messages for Joule. You just need to activate Joule. Then we also have, it will come in Q3, several different other languages, if that might be of interest to you. And one of the big announcements, which I think is really big, is that we're combining two co-pilots. We have now a huge partnership with SAP and Microsoft, where we are bringing Joule and Copilot together. So combining two of the market-leading co-pilots for your business. And how can something like this look like? This is an example. In an SAP application, you want to, for example, what's my daily allowance in San Francisco? Again, it has one of your company documents, right, which it takes the information from, and you can actually read about it. And then identify 4 days in August when the entire team is available for the offsite meeting, and send a calendar blocker with the team with the title 4 Wheels Offsite. Sure, and I've created this in the Outlook application. This is, for example, how the integration between Joule and Copilot will look like. Another example is if you, for example, are in Teams, you've asked who on the user UX team has more than 5 years of experience in product design. Well, comes back with their SuccessFactors profiles and gives you more information about this. You can also see here, for example, that Joule has been activated or added to the conversation in Copilot. So these are just some examples of how these two are coming together. You can expect this by the end of 2024. But a lot of people often come to me and say, yeah, Joule, this is just, you plugged in a large language model and that's all it is. Well, it's not correct. There's actually many more things that we did with Joule to enrich it and to give it exactly that relevance, reliability that we are putting out with our business AI strategy. So, and here you can see that it has, for example, like Joule in the middle with a dialogue on the left-hand side. We have the scenario catalog, which is, for example, if you have any particular question, HR question or sales order question that has a particular scenario. That is then, if the question is directed there, it will activate this area. Otherwise, we have also the knowledge catalog. So this is any of these kind of information that you already, SAP has already provided, then it activates this area, right? For example, these different policy documents that I was mentioning. Or if it is every time you are using Joule, it also knows the context of who is asking. It knows the permissions, it knows the authorizations, it knows in what kind of UI you're accessing Joule, and for example also what kind of licenses you have. So again, it has this context and this understanding. So customers have also asked me, okay, can I now see the salary of my colleagues? Well, you can't because you don't have the authorization and you don't have the permissions, right? But I'm just saying, this is all the context that we are enriching here. So in one prompt, let's say, for example, your question is based out of 5 tokens, it might be enriched even with over 10,000 tokens based on, what your question is about. And then we are partnering with a lot of large language model providers in the space. You have seen some of the logos before, and I will go in more detail what we already have available through our Generative AI Hub in a second. But based on then the cloud application that you're using, the cloud application then decides which is the best large language model to use, because again, we have several large language models that can be triggered in getting you the answer back to it. We also have very strict agreements with these large language model providers that your data is not passed on. So it's again used for processing, but not for data storing and not for retraining. And of course, when it comes to deciding which kind of large language model to use, it's always about the weakness and the strengths of these different models. So the cloud application also decides for whatever the particular query is about, which large language model has the best capabilities to actually reflect the answer back. So the application takes the decision of which one to use. It enriches this with the content on top and provides the large language model with the information response, and this all goes back then to the dialogue management, where it again gets enriched. And this happens within seconds, right? So I just to clarify again this myth, Joule is not just one large language model that we plugged in. There are several different mechanisms which are much more complex, but lovely, simplified in this diagram, that are happening below it. For some of you that also might find this interesting from a more function perspective, we again have this one embedded experience, because it doesn't matter where you're using Joule, it will remember what you talked about, because it is again across all of our cloud applications. It has then the Joule framework with the different parts, which again I don't want to go too much into detail because this is a BTP-centered session. But the very important part is it actually is built on BTP. So Joule is leveraging the Generative AI Hub, where we will learn much more about, and is also using for this kind of grounding our SAP HANA vector engine. So that's again, we're drinking also our own champagne because we're using the BTP as one developer application, or developer technology platform for our own technology. So Joule, we talked about this. Now embedded AI capabilities, but centered only on the SAP Business Technology Platform. I will not talk about any of these, I will only talk about these. So, the cockpit. I am very excited for this one. I mean, who of you has maybe created a SAP account before? Yay! A lot of people. Who has added users to the SAP account? Oh yes, a lot of people, right. So, here's a quick video. What will be coming with the cockpit is there is a lovely Joule icon in the top. You then are able to open Joule and you can answer the question. I will always read it out because I know it's very small. But you ask it first of all, hi, and then it comes back with how can I help you, because it knows already your name. So again, there's kind of context right into Joule images. But you want to create a SAP account. So it can help you to create the SAP account. It asks you what to name, and what kind of, it's also very small for me actually, I need to get a bit closer. I can't read it on the slide either, so I'm very sorry. Yeah, what you want to name it, thank you. Then which global account you should use, which region it should be assigned to, and again, these are the kind of now the transactional patterns, right? You just do it all out of the Joule console, you refresh the page, and you see now how the SAP account is starting to get created. And in the meantime, it actually asks you, okay, do you want to proceed with other things? Like, for example, copying some users over. So, it's doing this now in the background. And if you now would like to continue with other scenarios, like, for example, copy users from the global account, copy users from a SAP account. So we get to decide that we want to copy from the global account, and then it says, okay, let's proceed with this, while this is also running in the background. And we will shortly see the different users now that are sitting in the global account. And these kind of users now will be imported over into the SAP account. So we're going now back to our SAP account that is still in the creation mode, or now it's finished. And now we can see our users that have been copied over. So that is one of the past, that again, these transactional patterns of Joule that are coming in the BTP cockpit, but you can also ask it information like which services provide notification information on notification services. And then it will come back with this information. I think it's a little bit further down the video. Show you that. Yeah. So for example, here we have been asked what services provide notification capabilities, and then it comes back with these different capabilities, and you can then click on, and it guides you to the right websites. So this is just as one overview. Again, these kind of value cases that I've shown to you before. We believe that this will help 95% faster information search, because again, you can just ask it, it will come back with some information. And we believe it will be 90% faster execution of navigation and transaction tasks, as we just have seen. If we now, again, this is a value case, we estimate at the moment this takes around, the first one about the faster information search, around 10 minutes, and executing the task around to navigate and do these two different tasks around 5 minutes. Again, these are just estimations. And with AI, we believe the first one goes down to 30 seconds, and the second one as well. If we now are, for example, again, a consumer product company with around 10,000 employees, which is, decent size, and 5 of them are using BTP, only 5 out of these 10,000, then we believe there is an annual benefit just because you're using this of around almost 15,000 euros. And again, this is embedded, so it will come if you are using BTP. And I guess we have the BTP symposium usually do this. Another one, SAP Build Code. I talked about it earlier, just really quickly. Again, you can try it out already today. There's a free trial until the 1st of September. So try it out for free, which is about code generation, about JavaScript and Java. So I will not talk too much about this part, but then we also will talk about now in the data area. So in SAP Analytics Cloud, we have it already available also right now. You are able to do natural language query. So in this example, you just again asked it a question. So for example, show me repair cases by bike type. This was actually also part of a Sapphire demo for a bike company. I've shown the earlier part in the SAP Build Code one. Now we're in the SAP dashboard. And as you can see here, it now comes back and it gives you directly a chart. So again, a natural language way of how to query information. It can also give you a timeline or other things. And again, this is general availability. So check with you, whoever is your admin in SAP, then you can switch it on and then you're able to use it already now. Again, embedded in the application. Also here, a quick overview. We estimate that it helps 25% faster information retrieval on average by analyst, and 5% improvement knowledge worker productivity. If we just take the first one, at the moment without AI, this roughly takes around 2 hours. With AI, we estimate it goes down by 1/4, so 1.5 hours. And if we now take again a consumer company with around 10 billion in revenue, and they have 71 employees doing these different reports and using SAP Analytics Cloud, this can add up almost to 2,000 of saving. And again, if you're using SAP Analytics Cloud, activate it, maybe make use of it, enable your users for it. And my last one in the embedded space is the integration, I guess, because integration is the service that a lot of you start off with in the SAP BTP space. And there are several ways where you can also be enhancing and embedding AI. The first one is in the SAP Business Accelerator Hub. I've talked about it so many times today, so this is the one website that you might want to check out. But we are also enhancing Joule on this website, where you, for example, ask for an integration from S4 and SuccessFactors, and it tells, do you want to maybe try the AI service instead of now searching it for yourself? And then it will come back with several suggestions of how you can integrate S4 and SuccessFactors with one another. You can also directly add them to your workspace if you are logged in. So this is one area. The other area that you also can directly build integrations out from the console. I know this one goes very quick, so I'm just going to play it again. So you create add and you can use it with AI. So you create a prompt where you describe what kind of integration flow you want to create. It says, thank you, but we need a couple of further information and further steps. You select what it should be called, which kind of receiver system it should be, which kind of sender system it should be, and then it creates the integration for you, which you can see then in the next step. Of course, again, it is something that you can leverage. It can help you as a baseline, but it will not be, that it will create you everything, right? But it can be a very good baseline. So, for examples of embedded AI in the applications. 2 of them already live today. You can try them out. The rest are coming in the next half year. But AI foundation. So now we're entering the space of the customizable AI. So what can I say? BTP is the choice there for generative AI. Why? I mean, you of course can go and leverage large language model providers, but you might run into a couple of challenges, like for example, like hosting and optimizing some of these LLMs or ensuring a secure access. You of course can also use them through hyperscalers, but you can, again, might run into some couple of challenges, like lacking the business authorization or manual integration with your SAP processes and data. So that is why we believe, and actually the customer was earlier in the panel exactly said that he thinks this is the gateway in, right? Because again, it's in this one environment for all of the different areas, is to use it through the BTP system, because you already have authorization integration, identity management, you have full master data integration and several other things that are giving you the benefit, but still being able to access large language models and build things out. So if we double click now on the AI foundation, then this is how it looks. Okay? So as the first part, we have the SAP AI services. These are pre-built, pre-trained models that you can plug and place in your organization where you would like them. For example, document information extraction is one of the highly recommended low-hanging fruits. If you want to embed some AI in your organization, why not start with a service? By the way, this is also the area, if you are still on a premise, for example, with your Force system or with your ECC system, really good way to also start with embedding some AI. This service alone, my product management always told me this really cool analogy, is that per quarter, we are processing, extracting information from digital PDF files of the amount of the Mount Everest. So if you would put each digital paper on top of one another, this is how many papers we're processing alone with this software. Okay? The Generative AI Hub provides you with a lot of different tool sets, but we will talk much more about it, so that's why I will skip it here a bit. Then we have the different data part, because you know, as you heard probably from a lot of people, in order to do great AI, you use also great data. That is why we provide you with particular 2 things that actually Shantanu mentioned earlier. The vector engine for helping you to do some more better similarity searches, and then the knowledge graph to better explain you the combination of how your data is connected. And then overall, we also have SAP DataSphere if you want to enrich your data with your SAP data, and also bring it together with, for example, hyperscaler data or third-party data. This is where you can bring it all together. And then we have the different foundation models. So let's now go a bit deeper in, because this is a generative AI session. So what is the Generative AI Hub? It helps you to easily switch between the different large language model providers. We actually also use it for our own embedded generative AI use cases. And you can generate your own generative AI use cases, so your own custom extension using generative AI. At the moment, we have 22 models available. Just a glimpse of what is available. Open source and closed source from the things that we have said earlier. If we go a bit in it, for example, in Amazon, all of these things are at the moment available. In Google, Vertex AI, all of these different things, end of Q2. Azure, OpenAI, right? We have several different parts. Again, these 2 are often all want to go for GPT-4, but I will show you a good reason maybe why you also should consider 3.5. Again, we also love open source. We talked a bit about these different advantages and disadvantages earlier in the panel, right? So you also have the possibility to access open source models, for example, from Meta. We're doing this as well already. We just announced at Sapphire last week, 2 weeks ago, that we also now have Mistral available, which is also another open source model. And we now go a bit deeper in what is the Generative AI Hub. So you have a couple of different tool sets to do things. I will show you in a second, actually live, our playground from SAP. you have different trust and control mechanisms, which again, a lot of customers, this is, when we talk about trust, control, and transparency, that is what a lot of customers are really keen on. And then we have the different access, because again, you can access various different models, and the underlying data part. I want to highlight right now why I put this slide in directly is these parts: AI Launchpad, AI Core, and SAP HANA Cloud. These are all three services that sit on the BTP. So if you go to the Discovery Center, which again is one of the most underrated websites we talked a lot about today, you will find these. Unfortunately, you will not find it when you type in Generative AI Hub, because it's a consolidation of these three products, okay? You can use, for example, this one also on its own. But this is more if you really are more on a development side. This is more for this is for building, this is for managing, okay? You can also use other things below, so that's why there's this little button around. But of course, if it comes with SAP BTP, with SAP data, this might be very useful because it's again one platform all in one together. So the Generative AI Hub, for who could it be? This playground that I talk about, and I'll show you in a second. For who could this be relevant? Could be, for example, for a developer, to help them to access any kind of frontier models, right? Playing a bit around, helping them to maybe quicker also develop applications or do any kind of research prompts, or for your employees in your organization, right? I mean, we heard earlier that they all go to OpenAI anyways, maybe use some of these models to do their task. Why not provide it to them actually this playground in a more secure way, right? Where again, your customer data is not stored, but it's not used for retraining purposes. And again, we have very strict requirements when it comes to your customer data. So, time to show you this, what I've been talking about. So I will just now again switch my screen to mirroring, so I can move over, and I will probably need to refresh it. So, I thought about a very original question. What is the SAP UKI user group? And what we now can do, we just maybe start off with SAP GPT 3.5 Turbo, and you can see of how it's coming back with an answer. But now we can also change it to another model. Any preference? The first one who screams one? I will do.
Gemini.
Gemini! Okay, let's see. I've tried it with a couple of different ones, and I actually came back with different responses earlier. There you go. Much longer answer, right? I don't know, another one. Amazon, which one? Express. Let's go. Okay. So I guess you get a bit the point of why different models, what are their strengths and weaknesses, and you can do a lot, right? This is just an example. So, if I just go, okay. There is, of course, a lot in terms of how to calculate these things, and this is what I want to take you through a bit. This is now what we actually use internally, and by the way, we are roughly roughly 1,100 employees, and around 30,000 use this playground to do their task and enrich it and all of these things, right? So apparently I used it today already. But what I want to show you here, now I need to go to the right hand side. Again, the discovery. Oh, no. Let's mirror again. So, this is the Discovery Center. Again, your place for all of the things BTP related. We are now going to the service catalog again. And we just, what you can see here, if you type in AI, there are a lot of different things, but I want to talk to you about these two things. I've already added them to my estimator, just again to understand a bit the cost behind it and also how it's calculated. The difference again between the two, build a platform, right, and manage everything, okay? And you might say, okay, this is maybe a steep price for like a monthly use, but it is actually, how do you say, not related to any user. It can be 3 users, it can be 10,000 users. The price doesn't change. So again, if you then flip it around, if you have a lot of people using it, it actually is not a huge cost. But I think we're more interested in the AI core. Exactly, let me just go back, and how to calculate these, because it says here, It says here, if we go into the estimation, that we need to use again capacity units. Well, these lovely capacity units we talked about earlier. There is this AI core cost calculator for the Generative AI Hub. And now it gets really interesting because we have the different models that are available, okay, here on the left-hand side. And let's say we want to compare the Turbo against the GPT-4, okay? Let's also, there are different version models which you can actually also provide here. Actually keep it to this one and then change it later. Input tokens depends again what is your use case about. If this use case about summarization, then your tokens might be quite high, so we might want to change it to like 10,000 or something. Let's just do this now as a summarization use case. If it's the other way around, right, if it should write you things, for example, email or so, right, the token you put in, probably like, I want to have an email written for XY, might be shorter, and then the output tokens might be higher. So you can play around with it. The occurrences per month, how often would something like this be used in your organization? Rough estimate is 10th, like 1,000 is a small, 10,000 is medium, and then 50,000 is very large, right? Again, you need to understand a bit how your users are. But let's go with a medium. We say 10,000 times, which is already, you need to get there. Then you can see, okay, we can see now here already the difference in terms of like, using it. I will come into the price part in just a second, but I just would change it now to this one. Okay, did not do much, just change these.
We're just about at time.
Okay, I'm very soon done. So I'm going back to this, and now I put the metrics in here, and you can see what the price at the moment for this would be, right? So, this is not breaking you, okay? Just to make that clear. But of course, and that is now where I go back to this part. Let me just go back to my presentation. Let's change this again. There is a reference architecture, because you cannot only have that. Of course, you can have it for your developers, but you might want to expose it to your users, to your employees, to maybe use it as a playground. Then you need to build a CAP application around it, for example, right? This is an example of how you can build this to provide it to these different examples. There is also a whole reference architecture, which again is much more complicated because it takes everything into consideration. The one I showed you before was a bit more easier. This one you can also find on the BTP Discovery Center if you go to reference architecture. Remember these 3 buttons, right? I can maybe really quickly show you. You can, if you just type in generative, very quickly just changing it to mirroring again. So, reference, you went to the Discovery Center, you type in reference architecture, this first one it is, and then you can find this reference architecture. And what I really want to also highlight as well, if you are on the developer side, there is also a CAP application genai mail insights. This leads you now to this lovely website, which is a GitHub. So we built here an application that you actually can use as a basis point. Already out there. I know I see a lot of people nodding, so that's why I really wanted to show this. So to wrap this up again, all the links are in here. There will be distributed slides. I hope you now understood a bit more the difference between directly using a large language model versus maybe using it with this kind of robustness, safety, and everything else what we are providing below. Last but not least, AI commercials, and some people have already talked to me about this. So, really quickly, there are 2 ways. Basis AI, Premium AI. Basis AI included in your existing license. So, for example, SAP Analytics Cloud. You already have the license, it is embedded, hence no additional extra cost. Okay? Similar with SuccessFactors, based on your users, you get some free Joule messages with it. Okay? Premium AI, positive news is, most of the stuff that I showed you today, because we talk about BTP, you can consume through your BTP Enterprise Agreement or the BTP EA, or also some parts you can also do through the CPA. But for example, document information extraction, right, is one of the services, or AI Core, AI Hub, and all of these things, you can consume them through the BTP, your agreement, because we already have it. If we're talking about anything that is in these kind of softwares, it goes about like some of the more premium use cases that works with AI units, and these can be then purchased in a different level, but that's what I don't will be talking too much about, because again, this is a BTP separate first session. So, last but not least, I know this whole AI thing can be very confusing. So we said it already earlier, but we're offering these kind of workshops, inspiration workshops, where we come to you, you tell us a bit more about what kind of company you are, what use cases can we recommend you, we go in a definition, we help you in this area. So if you're interested, talk to me, reach out to me, and this is how it. And so yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn, write me there, write me an email, you have it there. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you.